YouTube, and LinkedIn.
So cool.
I think I did it right, so we'll find out no matter what we have to download. Hi, everybody. I'm Raphael Velazquez. I am the new author of Core Fitness, which you can actually pre-order today for 99 cents at preorder.raphaelvelasquez.com. And I
Do
have,
it.
thank you. And I have a great guest of honor. I have Nell Debevoise, founder and CEO of Inspiring Capital. So say hi to Nell.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Raphael. So good to be here with you. Got my pre-launch pre-order book, so everyone else should too.
Thank you very much. And I want to, let people just hear your story and hear about you, your successes, and where you're at. So, take the floor.
Cool. Um, so I am an entrepreneur. I've been running my company for 8 years. Before that, I grew up in Connecticut. Rode horses as a kid, just for my fitness background. I can share a little bit. Rode horses, wasn't super athletic, played kind of high school sports a little bit, but was never the fastest one on the field by any stretch.
So, before you continue on, I heard that riding horses is harder than it seems. There's a lot of strength for your muscle, for your thighs, and your core. So,
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. It totally is. It's a lot of core strength. It's a lot of balance. You have to keep yourself balanced up there so you don't throw them off. So thank you. I will take it. It's true. um, Anyway, then I worked internationally for not-for-profits in Europe and then the Middle East, and spent a little bit of time in Africa for the first 10 years of my career. And so there also, Americans are much crazier about our fitness and gym fitness specifically than other countries. So that was an interesting chapter in my kind of, fitness athletic journey.
what were some of the things that you were doing during that tenure? Even if, what would you do during that time?
So a mix. I mean, sometimes not much at all because there wasn't access to much. But for a little while, I ran a not-for-profit in the West Bank of Palestine, and so we certainly couldn't run on the streets. We were living in a tough city with a lot of refugee camps around, and it was not normal to walk or run. So finally, my colleague and I realized that our mental health depended on buying a treadmill for the center. And so we lived on the top floor of a community center that we ran. And so we bought a treadmill, and we were each on that every day at the end of work because it's stressful. And for sure, I've come to appreciate, we can talk more about that, but I've come to appreciate that the fitness thing, the sweats are key for mental health in hard work. And then I came back to New York about 10 years ago and started my company in 2012. So have been, kind of happy but stressed out founder ever since. That was right as the fitness, boutique fitness was starting to pop, and so my husband and I bonded early when we were dating over Flywheel and would do the 5 a.m. classes before work in New York. Was get to be an early adapter of ClassPass, which I loved and got my full benefit out of when they were doing unlimited classes. I would just go to everything around the city. And my day job is Inspiring Capital, which is a company that makes work purposeful. We have leadership development programs for folks who want their work to matter in the world and to find more meaning and purpose in the ways that they choose to work and live their lives.
So, you touched upon a lot of great things, and I want to focus on what was it that made you take the leap to come back to the States and start your own company? Because you were doing a lot of impactful work. What made you say, all right, I want to help others do the same?
I got pretty frustrated with the work we were doing because it felt like, I'll use a story that you might have heard before, and it's a little bit graphic, but I think it'll resonate. So this guy, I think he's a monk, goes down to the river at the base of the abbey where he lives, and he sees all these people pulling babies out of the river at the base of the property where they live. And he's like, oh my gosh. And he jumps in to help. What are all these poor babies doing in the river? Let's save them, and they're piling up babies on the riverbank to save them from drowning. And finally, someone in the line of help says, where are the babies coming from? Who's throwing the babies in the river? We have to go upstream and find where the babies are getting thrown in the river, and just let's not throw them in the river so we don't have to save them. And I think that story is emblematic of a lot of what I saw in international development, that it was just like a band-aid on a huge problem and not a systemic fix. And so um, I came back to the US to really help think about going upstream of like what could we do earlier in the process so that capitalism and business are good for the world and not extractive or causing problems. Um, and so that's been the focus for these 10 years is really that more systemic level fix. And it isn't nearly as like day-to-day warm, fuzzy impact changing families' lives. But it suits me better, I think, to be at that more systemic level.
I get you. It's more so making just being able to say, okay, this seems like this is where the source of the problem is. Let's go and tackle that issue. We'll
Bingo.
see how things move forward. And now, if we have no babies going down the stream, all right, we'll fix that problem. What's next? So that allows you to work with people that you're seeing. All right, this group is focusing on this problem and the source of the issue. So now it allows you to impact more problems, work with more people, more impact.
Exactly.
So let's focus on your transition from leaving and coming back to New York and being able to start your own company. How was your fitness? I know you were saying you were taking classes. How did you use that to help you with the day to day hardships? Because one thing that I want to tell anybody watching, no matter what you do, everything requires hard work and constant grind and finding time in between to take care of yourself to be able to find success. So, what was it that you did?
Yeah, I think on so many levels, right? And so one piece of it for sure, especially back then, like in 2012 when I started my company, early days, um, there's not a thing, right? You're building a thing from nothing. And so there may not be customers yet, there may not be a team yet. I had one employee pretty early, but it's not like you have a boss or meetings or times to show up places. And so there's a lot of self control and discipline that's required to keep yourself as an early stage entrepreneur like on track. And so in those days, I think workout classes were an organizing principle a little bit, right? Especially, like I said, I was on ClassPass, which is this app, and you have to pick the least popular times and kind of work around different neighborhoods. But it was really cheap, which is good for an early stage entrepreneur. And so those classes that I would choose would be kind of an organizing principle in my day. And I'd say, okay, I know I have to get, this customer research done or this strategy plan done or whatever it might be before or after. So there's the logistical time element, but then of course the endorphin thing is so real. It's whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a manager, whether you're a full-time parent, whatever it might be, especially these days, we know that life is hard. And so for me, having that, endorphin burst or, using a slightly heavier weight at berries this time than I had the time before was really satisfying, right? It's such a tangible accomplishment that you can kind of point to and feel really good about. So I think both of those things were important for me. And, at that point, honestly, it was also sort of a courtship for my husband and I. He's a lifetime athlete and was doing CrossFit and super, super strong when we met. And again, I was coming off 10 years abroad and an MBA and a little bit more party probably than fitness. And so it was really fun for us to be able to have those classes together as kind of date or couple time even.
That's awesome because you get to build your relationship in different ways than just going out and going out to eat, going out to drink. You're also getting active and improving together. So
Totally.
that as well, you're working on your wellness together as a couple.
Totally.
Awesome. And now with where the company is at now, walk me through what your day to day is, if you don't mind. Walk everybody through watching.
Yeah. So, now it's 8 years on and there's still that like strategy planning and hustle, but there's also now a team and clients to deal with. So days are full and busy, which is great. I wouldn't change that, but it means that it's harder to squeeze in the workouts, especially these days. It's been a busy year already. I think a lot of things are picking back up in 2021. Which again is great news, but it does mean I think at the beginning of quarantine, obviously I wasn't going to boutique studios anymore to work out.
Nobody was.
But we had actually moved out to the suburbs, and were really lucky to have a bit of a home gym. We had dedicated space. Had gotten a Peloton luckily before quarantine and before the wait lists got so long, as well as a mirror. Actually, are you familiar with? Do you know the mirror?
Yeah, that's the mirror you put on the wall. It has like a virtual trainer, and you get to follow the workouts.
Exactly. So
That's great.
the founder is a New York entrepreneur, and a friend of a friend. She's a great, incredible woman. I used to go to her studio actually that she had in the West Village. And so we bought that pretty early on too. So we had a good setup. And at the beginning when, we weren't commuting anymore, there was no socializing. It felt like there was a lot of time in the day for fitness, and even more reason to get those endorphins and, and have the kind of concrete achievement of a workout. So that was great. Was doing a lot, kind of spring, summer, I guess, when quarantine kicked in. And just a variety. I love the Peloton bike rides. I love, here they have some really fun classes, which are goofy and you feel silly, but you get a good sweat. Same with kickboxing. And then in October, I guess, we got a little puppy. And so that's been a great fitness addition to the regime to go on walks.
Beautiful puppy I saw.
Such a cute puppy. He's here chewing. He might make a guest appearance. We'll see.
That'd be dope.
So running with him in the woods and, throwing the ball in the backyard, just the goofy stuff is a fun way to be active. And I've cracked up my yoga too. I think the mindfulness and the balance of yoga, and the stretching, away from the desk hunch posture that I'm in so much of the day. Yeah, and just keeping the discipline. I've played a lot. You probably have opinions about time of day. It's hard for me. My morning is such good brain time that I don't like to use my mornings for workouts necessarily, but then it can get lost later in the day. So my ideal is if I can have a break at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and really sweat and get out of my head and break things up. But logistically, that can be a bit hard. So moving targets, just evolving with the business, with the quarantine, with the body.
You touch up on a lot of good points. You touch up on, and these are points I talk about in the book. You talk about variety. You talk about being able to find a way to break up your day from work. And that's huge. Being able to just unwind for a bit, even let's say you're dealing with something that is either repetitive and boring, annoying, or stressful.
Yeah.
It's good to be able to just take a step away. And I like to talk about the creative flow. I heard this from Einstein in a book, not from Einstein specifically, but I was reading his book. That I'm crazy. So I'm listening to the audiobook, and with the creative process is very interesting. We come up with, we're trying to solve a problem. And the next best step to do is to kind of step away from the situation, the problem going on, to allow time for your mind to just think. And a workout is always a good time to be able to do that. Just focus on something else. You're improving your body while subconsciously now you're trying to solve this situation that you have going on. And in the audio, it said that if Einstein had an issue or he was trying to solve a problem within an hour, he would just do whatever he wanted to for the first 55 minutes. The last 5 minutes was when he would get to work and solve that issue. So it's more so, whatever it is that you have going on through the day, for anyone watching, make sure to take time to just focus on your own self, your physical self, and then whatever issue you're going through, you'll be able to have that answer afterwards. And
I couldn't agree. So important. And amazing about the mind too, when you're not constantly trying to track it.
It's interesting. It's like staring at one spot and thinking, you're like, hey, okay, I see the full picture. But then if you have somebody pull you back, like, oh, it's a whole wall,
Totally.
Have you seen the movie Soul?
Yes. So good.
Great movie. And there's a part where it talks about where at the end, Jamie Foxx, I don't think I'm giving anything away here. He achieves his lifelong dream. Then he's having a conversation with a person he looked up to. And Jamie Foxx goes, what's next? And the woman gives her a great story. There was one day a baby fish goes up to an older fish and says, I love this. I want the ocean. But I'm just in water. I want more. The old fish goes. I'm screwing this. This is not verbatim. We know that. The old fish goes and says, "Honey, this is the ocean. This is everything." And the baby fish goes, "I want more. This is all we got." And I think from that perspective of understanding, all right, sometimes we need to step away. We need to appreciate where we are and what we're doing, whether it's hectic, putting the time and investing into the proper, cups or in the proper channels, like your fitness, your mind, your work, and you'll start to see things evolve. You're in a very great place after 8 years, so I commend you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I feel like I did last year that you'll relate to, um, around this like a goal thing. I think as humans, it's hard to know what progress is. Have some bigger purpose in the world. It's, get there, you're like 2020, where we are now. Those really powerful. Core sort of a weakness for it's called me.
One moment now, you're kind of cutting in and out.
Oh.
Try now.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, so far so good. I guess I mean it's fine. It's more so I would say like spread out the words so that
Okay.
the word cut out.
So I'll get to the point, which was my dog is excited.
Good. Ready for a walk.
Yeah, exactly. So I set myself a plank challenge last year. And so I started with a 1-minute plank, which was a bit of a stretch for me at the time, honestly. Again, core is not my strongest muscle group. And I added 10 seconds each month. And I tried to do a plank per day, adding 10 seconds. And so by December, I was up to 3 minutes. And there I was, grinning and bearing it, sore and hurting and shaking, but 3-minute planks. And so now I do those a few times a week. But it was such a cool habit and commitment and achievement to have gotten to. And I think fitness is really good for that. Again, it's just so tangible and our bodies respond. So I liked that experience.
It's cool because you're working on consistency, you're working on progression, you're working on staying patient, and it took a couple of months, which was fine. But I can imagine how great you felt afterward, after the fact. And it's like when you're achieving those goals, right? I can't speak for you, but I know for me, when I achieve certain goals within the weight room or just anything that I'm doing, it starts to compound and it just snowballs all the way together where you start to see things that tie in together. You start to see great wins that you may have not noticed before because you're enjoying the steps, the process, and the little things.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I would love to wrap up by saying thank you. And is there anything else you would like to tell people watching or share with people?
I think just especially for folks in my space of world changing and impact and purposeful work, it's easy to feel like what we're doing is so important, and it's more important to be at the desk, like changing lives or raising money or building a healthy, sustainable supply chain, and let that squeeze out the physical work. And I just want to say that the world needs you at your best, and that includes workouts. So don't think of it as a more, trivial or unimportant or unconsequential form of your work. The body is your engine, and we need it at its best. So fit in those workouts, a la Raphael, for fitness.
Now, where can people follow you, or where would you like to send them so that they can learn more about what you do?
Yeah, so my LinkedIn is definitely my most active. Nell Derick Debevoise or Inspiring Capital will get you there to me quickly. Instagram and Twitter are at NellDD.
Perfect. And thank you everybody for watching. Make sure to pre-order Core Fitness today. It's 99 cents and it'll go up as the days go on. You can go to preorder.raphaelvelazquez.com. All right. Thank you everybody. Nell, thank you.
Thank you so much, Raphael. Good luck with the launch.
Thank you. Bye.